Look at the deer in the road. There she goes. Little sidetracked on my point. Whoa, about got that guy and another deer. Man, all kind of animals out today. What's up, riders? Old Man Ronin here, and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, we're on the CLX 700 again from CFMoto today, and this is the actually second time I'm riding it. It's a little cloudy today, so the pictures won't be as beautiful as they normally are. Well, except the ones that I'm in. Go! Yeah, I know. But I thought I would take this bike on a little bit of a back road. Yeah, I'm not going to do any gravel today because we've had a tremendous amount of rain, and I don't really want to dirty up this bike all that much, and because, you know, I got to wash it before I take it back. But I wanted to give you an idea how she performs on some of these back roads, because, you know, we are running the MT60s on here, and they handled my driveway really well, which I was really impressed with. But again, that's the tires. My uncle used to have a thing, or a saying. He would say when we were talking about going fishing, and he would ask, somebody would say, well, what's your favorite fish to go fishing for? Bass, walleye, perch, you know, bluegill, crappie, you know, what is your favorite fish? He goes, I know them by their last name, fish. And you know what, I feel the same way about motorcycles. I know them by their last name, motorcycles. So it really doesn't matter to me what brand it is. I'm going to ride it and give you my first impressions. And of course, you know, very seldom will I ever do a review unless I've got, you know, guys know if you're a frequent channel watcher, 1,000 miles on the saddle here. But we do want to talk a little bit about how this bike here is a little bit different and similar to other motorcycles that I've ridden in the past. And I'll tell you what, this is again, it's a Chinese company, and don't freak out, guys. You know, Harley-Davidson has a deal with a company in China to make all their small engine motorcycles now. So, you know, don't hate, appreciate. That's all I have to say. Whether you agree with politics or not, you know, there's a lot of things that I disagree with politically, but, you know, I don't talk about it because it's not that important to the average person. We don't, you know, who cares? If you have an opinion about something, that's fantastic. But if it's controversial, don't be making broad statements and throwing hate and shame out there and shade out there because you don't agree with it. Everybody's entitled to what they believe in. And, you know, and I believe in riding motorcycles. That's what I believe in. So if I'm offered to ride a motorcycle by a company, I'm going to take it, because that way I can see exactly how I enjoy it. And if it's a good riding motorcycle, if it's not, well, I'm not, you know, I don't really talk bad about it, but if you don't hear me mention certain things, then you'll know that it really isn't up to my snuff, if you will. And one of the things that I'll tell you that isn't up to my snuff is I'm not really a big fan of rider modes, and I'm actually going to take this entire ride in the eco mode just to see. I'll switch it back and forth a little bit, but, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, on my first reaction to the thing, you know, I said I'm going to keep it always in sport, but I wanted to actually give some feeling of how it's riding in the eco, because I'm not a mode guy. This is my controls, and you know, between my feet and my hands, that's how I ride. And you know, if I know that the bike is going to spin out on me or pop a wheelie if I do something too aggressive on the throttle, well, I will use the friction zone. Does that make sense? And if you guys don't know what that is, that basically is you know, let me show you. Let me show you. Now, one of the things I do when I test the clutch on a motorcycle is I grab the front brake and I let the clutch out slowly and let it feel like the ass end will want to raise up on me, and then it'll stall. And that tells me how good my clutch is, and you know, if it stalls out pretty quick towards the end of the stroke there, I know what's going on. But as far as the friction zone is, that's when she starts to move forward. You notice in my hand right there, just barely moving forward, and that is the friction zone. And I started out in second gear there. Whew, got some fog going on my face. I started out there in second gear just to give it a, you know, a little bit of check that low end torque, and she was able to, you know, with the friction zone, you're able to get it to move. Let's start it in first gear then and give it a real good test here. There's first gear, And like I said, you'll be able to tell. We're not going to let the brake in. Well, yeah, let's do that. Let's do the whole thing all over again. Feel that rear end raise up, and she'll stall. And then here's the test on the friction zone. See how she starts to roll forward? And there you go. And that's really what the friction zone is. So if I'm trying to start out slow and not spin my tires, then I'll keep that where I'm not getting all the clutch engaged, just a little bit of it. And that way, that's my rider mode. That's how I keep the back wheel from spinning or getting too much throttle, or, you know, I just don't crack the throttle as much. But we're going to test out this eco mode here a little bit and see how it compares, because I rode pretty much the entire time to the house riding in sport mode, and I really enjoyed it. You know, because it was me in control. And I'm not sure if, you know, like I said, is it something that is possible or probable or practical for some people? Yeah, I'm certain it is. Some people need that reassurance that they're not going to throttle up. Back to our first impressions. How's this bike doing as far as a motorcycle back on these back roads? Well, it does control really easy. I will give you that. If this was my bike, I would adjust the suspension, because like I mentioned in the other video, it's pretty stiff. The seat is very firm. Sportster-ish. Oh man, feel that? My mother told me to. You know what I'm trying to say, guys. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So it does need to have a little bit of suspension adjustment for my particular weight. I need a little bit slower rebound, if you know what I mean, because it's bouncing up there really quick, which is great in the corners, but not so much on bumpy roads. And again, you know, and this bike is not a scrambler. I kind of made a joke about it because I've seen some guys, just because it had MT60s on it, they're saying, well, it's dual purpose and it's, you know, or dual sport, so it must be a scrambler. No, it's not. It's a naked bike is what it is. And it's got a very aggressive engine in the higher RPM, which is what most, I would say, Japanese style motorcycles would be. And I use that term Japanese motorcycle styles because those are the ones that really, you know, particularly with my background of riding Harley Davidsons with long stroke, and, you know, even Royal Enfield's long stroke and low RPM. These motorcycles are high revvers. Even though they did make, they took the 650 engine, which was very popular in this model, and then made it a little bit longer stroke to give it 700 cc's. It's still considered a short stroke engine, and it does have a lot of high torque, or I'd say high torque and the high RPMs. Man, I mean, it lights up. It really does. So if you guys are sport bikers, can't even talk. If you guys are sport bikers, then you'll know that that higher RPMs where she really shits it and gets it. So this is one of my favorite little curvy roads in the area. And one thing I will tell you about this bike, guys, it does, hello little cow, it does have self-canceling turn signals. And I'm going, yeah, what? So today you won't hear me say, hey, I turned off my turn signal, because it does it for me. But as far as in the corners, again, it handles really well. I'll give you that. The rake and trail on this is superb. I'll give you the numbers here. I'm gonna put this down. That's a little bit too much wind. The rake and trail is superb. The inverted front forks are, I just simply love them. The bike does really well in the corners without question, and you're gonna see here, ooh, dead possum. Why did the chicken cross the road? To prove to the possum it could be done. Dad jokes. But I'll tell you what, like I said, curvy road like this, running about 45, 55 miles an hour, depends on, again, it's a little slick. All the rain we've had and all the debris on the road. Man, in our part of the country here, guys, when we get rain, it just washes all the gravel off the gravel roads right onto the road. So something you want to be careful of. And we are at the edge of Amish country, so we are going to have some Amish buggies around here once in a while. But you can hear a torque out. Here's one of the things I was telling you about. But how does the bike run? What does it make me feel like? Well, I'll tell you what. I really enjoy this motorcycle. I think it's the first impressions is, for the money, if you're looking at some of the other Japanese style or some of the Italian or some of the German or even English motorcycles in this naked style, you're going to be paying a lot less money for it. I don't know how it'll last. Again, I'm not going to give you any smoke. I don't know. I don't know anything about this company other than the fact that they let me ride it. And they told me to, hey, talk about the motorcycle. Okay, here it is. This motorcycle is fun to ride. But a lot of motorcycles are fun to ride. So my first impressions are, yeah, is it fun? Yes, it's pretty fun. Does it handle well? Yes. Are there other bikes that handle better? I'm certain. But how it makes me feel, how the ride is, it's very firm. That firmness is fantastic in the corners. On a long distance trip, this seat would get old really, really fast. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not a huge fan of the seat. I wish I could sit back a little farther. But again, I'll tell you what, they make a sport model of this that has more clip-on bars. And I would say with the given seat that we have here, it would probably be more comfortable for me because I'd be more leaning forward. But the sit-up position I'm in right here, yeah, I think the seat could be a little bit better. The mids, the tank, I love the way this bike looks, and I have to say that that's a big part of it as well too, in my first impressions. I think this is one of the prettiest motorcycles I've seen in a long, long time. The graphics, the way that the frame wraps around the tank here, and I'll show you pictures right now. The way that the tank wraps around the frame, or excuse me, the way that the frame wraps around the tank, or you know, the tank is kind of embedded inside of the frame. I think it's really pretty. I think that I'm not a big fan of water-cooled engines. You guys know that. That's a drawback to me. I would. Is it a con? I don't know, man. I'm an air-cooled guy. So for me to ride a water-cooled engine, my first reaction is, nah, not so much. Again, my early sport bikes were all air-cooled. Maybe a little oil cooler or maybe a medium-sized oil cooler, but not like a radiator like we got on these, or like the new Harley Nightster and the Sportster S and things like that. None of that stuff. But as far as me riding this motorcycle and having a good time, yeah, it's a good motorcycle for that. I do enjoy it. I put it to you that way. This bike does go, man. And that's in the eco mode. Not too bad. Not too bad. The throttle response is slower, I will say that. But man, it'll get up and go. So as far as a fast bike, for a 700, this is a pretty fast bike. It's quick, it's nimble, it's fast, not all that comfortable. And I'm telling you simply because of the seat. The rider stance is great. The rider triangle is perfect. Gives me my knees, you know, again, the way that I can grip the tank with my legs is really, really desirable. I like the fact that it's got a narrow back end on the tank. And that's really a big plus for me. I like the way that it feels. Now, we're going to be riding here on a back road that's got really a lot of curves. And I can't go that fast on it because it's pretty much, well, it's a back road. But it is blacktopped in pretty good shape. But I have a good area here that I can really get on the bike. And we may pop her into sport mode for that. I don't know. Got a little rain happening right now. I'm getting hit in the face a little bit. But be that as it may, be that as it may. It seems to trail brake real nice. The front brake is really... I'll tell you what, the brakes are great on this. And they're using that J1 braking system on this. And I think that's a... So the brakes are good. How will it last? I have no idea. Again, we're only going to be doing a first impressions here. We're not doing a review. But the first impressions are, there's a lot of pluses to this bike. Number one, how it looks. Number two, the performance. Number three, the handling. Number four, I would say the components, or the design components, seem to be pretty cool. The negatives to me, are the cons, if you will. Water cooled. I'm not a big fan of water cooled engine. That's a personal preference. I know a lot of you guys are, and so you have to take that with a grain of salt. The seat is really stiff. Oh, I wanted to add to the pluses, the fact that it's got both forward and rear adjustable suspension is a big, huge too, which may give it a little bit easier ride. But this seat, man, I'm telling you what, it's not a. I'm not digging it, baby. Let's see. Now we didn't drop a gear, and I used just the eco mode, and we had what, 63 miles an hour out of 45, which is not bad. Again, we're in eco mode. I didn't put it in sport. Like I wanted to give a ride or an impression on the sport mode, which again, you know, me and modes.
Well, there he goes again. That's right, guys. It's time for another giveaway. And this month, we're giving away Duracoating waxes and polishes. All you have to do to win is be a subscriber, make a comment below, send me an email to oldmanronin@gmail.com, and we'll put you in the running to win this exciting prize pack from Duracoating. Frequent viewers of the channel know that I've done a lot of restorations on some of the Harley-Davidsons that we have in our garage, and without a doubt, Duracoating has been a big part of these. Check out the Road King here. It's well over 20 years old, and it looks like it rolled right off the showroom. And of course the 1200, or should I say 1250 Sportster as well too. Duracoating, it's been a big part of my restoration and care of motorcycles for a long time.
Nice curvy road here. Like I said, it's a double, no lines on it, no shoulder. Just a nice curvy road, and she handles beautifully. I really do like the way this bike handles. I will say that. So my first impressions ends up like this. The number one thing I love about this bike, or the number one thing I think is my first impression, is I really like the way it looks. I love the stance of this motorcycle. It's completely the opposite of what I normally like, but I really do like the way it looks. That's one of the reasons why I picked this as my first ride on a CFMoto, is I really enjoy the way it looks. Second thing is, I think the performance is really good. It performs exceptionally well. Handling, right up there. It's not my GS 1100 ES, but again, yeah, see? Oh, this thing does have anti-lock brakes too, just to give you a heads up. I keep forgetting about that because that's something that I've never really used too much. But as far as handling, components, the design, I think it's a pretty bike. The unknowns, I do not know about it. I do not know about the quality. I know that they build motors and motorcycles for other companies, so I'm going to say that that's going to be a neutral for me. I don't know. So the build quality and the component parts are an unknown. As far as some of the cons, the major con is the seat. I do not like the seat at all. It is a definite non-plus for me. I really don't care for it. But that's pretty much it. I really do enjoy the motorcycle overall. And with another seat, a little bit more comfortable, I think this bike would be fantastic. Well, if you enjoyed the video, give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification button, share, and comment. You know I read all the comments and comment on as many as I possibly can. Until next time, guys, ride safe and keep her on two wheels, baby.